We are on chapter 31, talks between Lord Chaitanya and Rāmānanda, right? So would somebody like to read? Or
I can read, yeah.
okay.
As Krishna is the highest emblem of spiritual perfection, so Radharani is the highest emblem of the spiritual pleasure potency meant for satisfying Krishna. Krishna is unlimited, and Radharani is also unlimited in her ability to satisfy him. Krishna is satisfied just by seeing Radharani, but Radharani expands herself in such a way that Krishna desires to enjoy her more. Because Krishna was unable to estimate the pleasure potency of Radharani, he decided to accept the role of Radharani, and that combination of Krishna and Radharani is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So Krishna is unlimited, Radharani is unlimited. They both look at each other, they feel happy, then they expand. Then Krishna expands, then Radharani expands, and Krishna expands, and Radharani expands. So it's unlimitedly going on. So there's competition between both of them. Radharani and serving Krishna, Krishna and enjoying with Radharani.
Ramanand Rai then began to explain how Radha Rani is the supreme emblem of Krishna's pleasure potency. Radharani expands herself in different forms known as Lalita, Vishakha, and her other confidential associates. In his Ujjwal Neelmani, Rupa Goswami explains that one of the characteristics of Srimati Radharani is that her body is an evolution of transcendental pleasure. That body is decorated with flowers and fragrant aromas and is complete with transcendental love for Krishna. Indeed, that body is the personification of his pleasure potency. Radharani bathes her transcendental body 3 times. First, in the water of mercy, second, in the water of youthful beauty, and third, in the water of youthful luster. After she bathes 3 times in that way, her body is covered with shining garments and decorated with her personal beauty, which is compared to cosmetics. Thus, her beauty constitutes the highest artistry. Her body is also decorated with the ornaments of the spiritual ecstasy, trembling, shredding of tears, perspiring, choking of the voice, cessation of all bodily functions due to transcendental pleasure, standing up of the bodily hair, changing of bodily color, and madness. Wow.
So, what are the 3 waters?
The water of mercy, the water of youthful beauty, and the water of youthful luster.
Yeah. And in ornaments, we would think gold, diamonds, sapphires, emeralds, no?
Yeah.
But what are the emeralds that she is being decorated with?
Wow.
And her beauty is already compared to cosmetics.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to apply cosmetics.
Yeah.
She's already so beautiful.
Yeah. And then, yeah, her beauty constitutes the highest artistry.
Yeah.
And then she has these ornaments. We would think the ornaments are maybe diamonds or sapphires or something.
No.
And there's ornaments. Although she wears those ornaments just so that the ornaments can look beautiful, she wears jewelry, so the jewelry looks beautiful.
Jewelry,
But
right.
these are
These
the
are the
ornaments
8.
of spiritual ecstasy.
These are the 8 symptoms, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. Radharani ki jai. The decorative transcendental pleasure potency manifests 9 symptoms. 5 of these are manifested by the expansion of Radharani's personal beauty, which is adored with the garlands of flowers. A patient calmness is compared to a covering of cloths which have been cleansed by camphor. Her confidential agony for Krishna is the knot in her hair, and the mark of tilak on her forehead is her good fortune. Radharani's sense of hearing is eternally fixed on Krishna's name and fame. Chewing betel nuts makes one's lip reddish. Similarly, Radharani's complete attachment to Krishna has blackened the border of her eyes. This darkness might be compared to ointment produced by Radharani's joking with Krishna. Radharani's smile is just like the taste of the camphor. The garland of separation moves on her body when she lies down on the bed of pride within the room of aroma. Her breasts are covered by the blouse of anger, born of her ecstatic affection for Krishna. Her reputation as the best of all Krishna's girlfriend is the stringed instrument she plays. When Krishna stands in his youthful posture, she puts her hand on his shoulder. Although she possesses so many transcendental qualities, she is still always engaged in the service of Krishna.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So detailed description.
Yeah.
Srimati Radharani is decorated with Shuddhapit sattvic emotions, which sometimes include jubilation and sometimes pacification. All the transcendental ecstasies are manifested in the body of Srimati Radharani. Shuddhipit sattvika emotions are manifest when a lover is overwhelmed with a certain feelings which he or she cannot check. Radharani has another emotion called Kila Kinchit, which is manifested in 20 different ways. These emotions are manifested partly due to one's body, partly due to one's mind, and partly due to habit. As far as the bodily emotions are concerned, they are manifested in posture and movement. As far as the emotions of the mind are concerned, they are manifested as beauty, luster, complexion, sweetness, talking, magnanimity, and patience. As far as the habitual emotions are concerned, they are manifested as pastimes, enjoyment, preparing for separation, and forgetfulness.
So we can see, in the spiritual platform, everything is there. It's not that there is nothing. There's so much emotions Srimati Radharani is feeling. So many different emotions. So, because someone may think that in the spiritual platform there's nothing, it's only Shanti, Shanti. No, there's feelings, there's emotions, and this all spiritual on the transcendental platform. We may think emotion means only on the material platform. It's also there on the spiritual platform.
The tilaka of good fortune is on the forehead of Srimati Radharani, and she also has a locket of Prem Vechitya. Prem Vechitya is manifest when a lover and the beloved meet and fear separation.
So they're together, but Radharani is feeling that Krishna is going to leave her.
Srimati Radharani is 15 days younger than Krishna. She always keeps her hand on the shoulder of one of her friends, and she always talks and thinks of pastimes with Krishna. She always offers Krishna a kind of intoxicant by her sweet talks, and she is always prepared to fulfill all his desires. In other words, she supplies everything needed to meet all the demands of Sri Krishna, and she possesses unique and uncommon qualities for Krishna's satisfaction. In the Govinda Leela Amrit, a nice verse states, who is the breeding ground of affection for Krishna? The answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika. Who is Krishna's dear most lovable object? The answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika and no one else. Sheen in the hair, moisture in the eyes, firmness in the breast. All these qualities are present in Srimati Radhika. Therefore, only Srimati Radhika is able to fulfill all the desires of Krishna. No one else can do that. Satyabhama is a competitor of Srimati Radharani, but she always desired to come to the standard of Srimati Radharani. Radharani is so expert in all affairs that all the damsels of Vrija come to learn art from her. She is so extraordinarily beautiful that even the goddesses of fortune and Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, desires elevation to her standard of beauty. Arundhati, who is known as the most chaste lady in the universe, desires to learn the standard of chastity from Srimati Radharani. Since even Lord Krishna cannot estimate Radharani's highly transcendental qualities, it is not possible for an ordinary man to estimate them.
Wow, even Krishna cannot estimate Srimati Radharani's qualities.
After hearing Rāmānanda Rai speak of the qualities of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, Lord Caitanya desired to hear from him about the reciprocal exchange of love between them. Rāmānanda Rai described Krishna as Dhir Lalit, a word indicating a person who is very cunning and youthful, who is always expert in joking, who is without anxiety, and who is always subservient to his girlfriend. Krishna is always engaged in the loving affairs with Radharani. And he takes to the bushes of the Vrindavan to enjoy his lusty activities with her. Thus he successfully carries out his lusty instincts. In the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, it is stated, by his impudent and daring talks about sex indulgence, Krishna obliged Srimati Radharani to close her eyes, and taking advantage of this, Krishna painted many pictures on her breast. These pictures served as the subject matter for Radharani's friends to joke about. Krishna was always engaged in such lusty activities, and thus he made his youthful life successful. Should I continue?
Yeah.
Upon hearing of these transcendental activities, Lord Caitanya said, "My dear Rāmānanda, what you have explained regarding the transcendental pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna is perfectly correct. Yet there is something more I would like to hear from you." "It is very difficult for me to express anything beyond this," Rāmānanda Rai replied. "I can only say that there is an emotional activity called Prem Vilase Vivarta, which I may try to explain, but I do not know whether you will be happy to hear of it. In Prem Vilas, there are two kinds of emotional activities, meeting and separation. This transcendental separation is so acute that it is actually more casting than meeting." Rāmānanda Rai was expert in understanding that these highly elevated dealings between Radha and Krishna, and in this regard, he had composed a nice song which he narrated to the Lord. The purport of the song is that the lover and the beloved, before meeting, generate a kind of emotion by exchange of their transcendental activities. That emotion is called rag or attraction. Srimati Radharani noted that this attraction and affection between us has arisen to the highest extent. But the cause of this attraction is Radharani herself. Whatever the cause may be, Radharani said, that affection between you and me has mixed us in oneness. Now that it is the time of separation, I cannot see the history of evolution of this love. There are no cause or meditator in our love, save our meeting itself and the exchange of feelings through our glances. This exchange of feeling between Krishna and Radharani is very difficult to understand unless one is elevated to the platform of pure goodness. Such transcendental reciprocation is not possible to understand even from the platform of material goodness. One has to transcend even material goodness in order to understand. This is because the exchange of the feelings between Radha and Krishna is not a subject matter of this material world. Even the greatest mental speculators cannot understand this directly or indirectly. Material activities are manifested for either the gross body or the subtle mind, but this exchange of feelings between Radha and Krishna is beyond such manifestations and beyond intellectual mental speculation. It can be understood only with the purified senses, freed from all the designations of the material world.
So one may think that this is like ordinary lusty affairs between a girl and a boy, but only the liberated souls can understand really the feelings between Radha and Krishna. We conditioned souls and we cannot understand because our mind is material, our consciousness is material, and this is the exchange of highest love. So by hearing this, one may feel, oh, this is just lusty affairs between boy and girl. But we have to understand this is on the transcendental platform, not material platform. So, of course, we won't be able to understand it. Only those who are liberated will be able to understand it.
Those who have purified senses can understand these transcendental features and exchanges, but those who are impersonalist and who have no knowledge of spiritual senses can only discriminate within the scope of the material sense and thus cannot understand spiritual exchanges or the spiritual sensual activities. Those who are elevated by the virtue of experimental knowledge can only satisfy their blunt material senses, either by the gross bodily activities or by the mental speculation. Everything generated from the body or by everything generated from the body or the mind is always imperfect and perishable. But transcendental spiritual activities are always bright and wonderful. Pure love on the transcendental platform is the paragon of purity because it is devoid of material affection and is completely spiritual. Affection for the matter is perishable, as indicated by the inebriety of sex in the material world. But there is no such inebriety in the spiritual world. Hindrances on the path of sense gratification, satisfaction, cause material distress, but one cannot compare that with the spiritual distress of separation from Krishna. In such spiritual separation, there is neither inebriety nor ineffectiveness as one finds with the material separation.
This is completely like in material world, suffering. Separation means suffering. But here they are experiencing the highest bliss, more blissful. In the separation, they're feeling more love because there's no this kind of drunken, there's no kind of what do you say, illusory attachment to the material world. It's only in the material world that we have this spiritual platform completely different.
Lord Chaitanya said that this is the highest position of transcendental loving reciprocation. And he told Rāmānanda, by your grace only have I been able to understand such a high transcendental position. Such a position cannot be attained without the performance of the transcendental activities. So, will you kindly explain to me how I can raise myself to this platform? It is similarly difficult for me to make you understand. Rāmānanda replied, as far as I am concerned, I can only speak what you wish me to, for no one can escape your supreme will. Indeed, there is no one in the world who can surpass your supreme will. And although I appear to be speaking, I'm actually not the speaker. You are. Therefore, you are both the speaker and the audience. Thus, let me speak only as you will me to speak about the activities required to attain this highest transcendental position.
So this Vipralamba Seva, this mood of separation, Lord Chaitanya is saying is the highest mood. He's asking Rāmānanda, how can I come to this position?
Ramanand Rai then began his explanation saying that the transcendental activities of Radha and Krishna are very confidential. These activities cannot be understood by one who has an emotional relationship with the Supreme Lord as servant to master, friend to friend, or a parent to son. This confidential subject matter can be understood only in the association of the damsels of bridge. For these confidential activities have arisen from the feeling and emotions of those damsels. Without the association of the damsels of bridge, one cannot nourish or cherish such a transcendental understanding. In other words, because these confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna have expanded through the mercy of the damsels of bridge. Without their mercy, one cannot understand them. One has to follow in the footsteps of the damsels of bridge in order to understand.
So Raya Ramananda is saying, you are asking me to speak, but actually you are speaking through me. Whatever you're telling me in my heart, that's what I'm speaking. Like Krishna, he spoke the Vedas in the heart of Brahma, and that's how Brahma speaks the Vedas. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. So similarly, Ramananda Rai is saying that you are making me speak. And he's saying that this position can become only by the mercy of the gopis. One who is in the Sakya, Dasya, Shantras, or even Vatsalya cannot understand this mood of separation. It's only in the Madhurya one can understand, and that also by the mercy of the gopis, the Vrajvadu, can one understand. So time is up, although we would love to continue reading. I think we'll have to stop here. Right? We can continue tomorrow. Yes? I think
Yes.
hopefully we can. Okay. So anyway. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.